Listen, say nationwide federal prison lockdown. Looked like there was a major fight, deadly fight. Two people were killed. So, and this was out of Beaumont in Texas, Beaumont, Texas prison. But all of the federal pens are on lockdown. Let's listen.
The United States is under lockdown after a deadly fight at a facility in Beaumont, Texas. Correspondent.
Again, the deadly fight was in Beaumont, Texas, but all federal penitentiaries, prisons are nationwide are on lockdown until further notice.
Yeah, good evening, Marty. When you're talking about this nationwide lockdown, you're talking about 122 federal prisons across the country in this lockdown, and it all started, as just mentioned, this deadly gang fight at the facility down in Beaumont, Texas. And what we know about this altercation, actually not a ton of detail, but we know that it involved at least 4 members of this violent street gang called MS-13.
MS-13. And she said 2 of their members died in this deadly fight.
Local hospital for their injuries, and basically this lockdown has been initiated
2 killed, 2
out
injured.
of fear, right? That retaliation would reach other prisons, that similar crimes would spread throughout facilities across the country. And really, until this gets resolved and until it's deemed an isolated incident, prisoners and inmates across the country will be, staying in their cell, visitation.
Is Martin a news reporter lady? Is she freaky? Does she have a ball in her mouth on the back of her tongue? Back there, way back there. You know that twirl. Listen, let me come back. Let me come on back. She just caught me off guard. She just didn't look like she was freaky weaky. But that means our boy Straightdrop on lockdown. Is he gonna be able to make it to court on Friday? Ain't he in the feds? Ooh. Justin Johnson, you're in the federal, so that means that you're on lockdown too. Let's go.
In their cell, visitation will be canceled, although I will say because of COVID, a lot of those social visits have been canceled anyway. And Marnie, I did want to tell you the 2 men who died today. One of them was serving a 38-year sentence for carjacking and interfering with interstate commerce, and the other for racketeering. Marking pretty rare for all of lockdown like this. We don't see it very often. Yeah, you don't, which is why it's catching everybody's eye right now. But really, the issuing of a nationwide lockdown is pretty rare. But I will say that just within the past couple years during the pandemic, it's actually been issued a handful of times. April of 2020, when the pandemic really started to take off and cases started to skyrocket. We saw it then, we saw it last year during the Capitol insurrection, and then shortly before President Biden took office last year. But it's something we're going to follow very closely, because at this time we have not been told when it might be lifted.
Okay, there you have it. Nationwide federal prison lockdown until further notice. 2 inmates injured, 2 are deceased. It started out of Beaumont, Texas, the federal penitentiary. Check on your people.